Many files have a special background layer. Let's take a look at what a background layer is and how to work with it. If you're following along, use this file from the practice files for this tutorial. Let's take a look at the Layers panel, where at the bottom of this layer stack, there's a layer labeled Background with an uppercase B and a lock symbol. That's how to recognize a special background layer. The content of this background layer is the large photo in the background of the image in the document window. A background layer like this has special properties that are different than a regular layer. For example, you can't change the stacking order of a background layer in the Layers panel. Try to move it up in the layer stack by selecting the background layer and then dragging up. And you just can't drop it on top of these other layers. Instead, you get this no way symbol. And when you remove your finger from the mouse or the trackpad, the background layer pops back down to the bottom of the layer stack. Similarly, you can't drag another layer beneath the background layer in the Layers panel. Try selecting another layer and then drag beneath the background layer and you get that same no way symbol. A background layer just has to be at the bottom of the layer stack, and its content has to be at the back of the image behind the other image elements. Let's go back to the Layers panel and select the background layer again to see something else that you can't do with the background layer, and that is to move it with the Move tool. I'll go over and select the Move tool in the Tools panel. I'll click on that large background photo and I'll try to move, and I just get a message that the Move tool can't move this layer because the layer is locked. I'll click OK to dismiss that. There are a couple other things you can't do with a background layer either. For example, you can't vary the opacity of a layer, and you can't have transparent pixels on a background layer. So what if you want to do any of that with a special background layer? In that case, you need to convert the background layer to a regular layer, and that's as simple as one click. Just come down to the background layer and click on the lock symbol, and it goes away, and that layer becomes a regular layer called Layer 0. And now, because it's a regular layer, I could do all the things I just mentioned that you can't do with a background layer. As just one example, I can move this layer with the Move tool. I have the Move tool still selected. I'll move into the image and I'll drag to the right, and that does move Layer 0, and it reveals transparency behind it because this is the bottommost layer in the layer stack. Now, what if you did want to have a special background layer and you didn't have one in your file? Well, you can make any layer into a special background layer by going up to the Layer menu and choosing New, Background from Layer. I actually want to make a new layer in this case and make that the background layer. So I'll go down to the bottom of the Layers panel and I'll click the Create New Layer button. That makes a new Layer 1, which I'll drag to the bottom of the layer stack. Layer 1 is currently empty. I'll fill it with white. To do that, I'm going to go up to the Edit menu and I'll choose Fill. In the Fill dialog that opens, I'll change the first drop-down menu to white, and I'll click OK. And now we have a white layer at the bottom of the layer stack. To change that into a special background layer, I'll go up to the Layer menu and choose New, Background from Layer. And now that layer is locked. I can't move it or do the other things that I mentioned. And it's providing a stable base for this composition. So background layers deserve mention because you will run into one sooner rather than later. And now you know what a background layer is, what its limitations are, and how to work with it.